What's up, guys? It is Thursday, March 20th, 2025. We're at the Bitcoin block height of 888,694. TikTok next block. You guys see the fees are pretty low, and that's good. What we're going to do, we're going to take a look at two videos real quick. We're going to talk about Donald Trump making a pretty big announcement or a speech at his desk about Bitcoin and crypto. And this time he's doing more talking than David Sachs is, because the last time we saw him at his desk, he was signing the executive order for Bitcoin. So let's take a look and see what President Trump has to say about Bitcoin and crypto.
To everyone at the Blockworks Digital Assets Summit. It's an honor to speak with you about how the United States is going to dominate crypto and the next generation of financial technologies. And it's not going to be easy, but we're way ahead. Just 2 weeks ago, we hosted the first ever White House Digital Asset Summit, bringing together many of the world's top leaders in crypto for a conversation led by our White House AI and crypto czar David Sachs, who's a fantastic and very brilliant.
Speaking of AI, when he's sitting there talking like this, because AI is so good now, I ain't gonna lie, I thought it was an AI speech for a second. You know what I mean? Because you have to really watch their mouths and stuff like that because it's getting so good. But yeah, that's crazy. Imagine what AI is going to be in like 2 or 3 years.
Very brilliant guy. That same week, I signed an order creating the brand new strategic Bitcoin reserve and the U.S. digital asset stockpile, which will allow the federal government to maximize the value of its holdings instead of foolishly selling them for a fraction of their long-term value, which is exactly what Biden did. He got a fraction of their value.
I love that, man. I love that. I love the fact that number one, he separated. He's actually talking about it now, because a lot of times Trump is playing possum when it comes to comes to Bitcoin and crypto. Excuse me. He kind of throws them together interchangeably, but this time he said Bitcoin strategic reserve, and then crypto over here. You know what I mean? And I also like the fact that he brought it up when David Sachs talked about it a couple weeks ago, that Joe Biden sold off the Bitcoin. Now again, Trump is always going to throw shade and throw little disses at Biden, but I like that he's doing it on for the benefit of Bitcoin. You know what I mean? So this is my worlds coming together. I just love this, man. Love it.
Of their value. We're ending the last administration's regulatory war on crypto and Bitcoin, and that includes stopping the lawless Operation Choke Point 2.0.
Gary Gensler, ladies and gentlemen. What a piece of, I can't stand that guy.
Operation Choke Point went beyond regulation, and I mean far beyond. It was a form of lawfare through government weaponization. Frankly, it was a disgrace. But as of January 20th, 2025, all of that is over. I've also called on Congress to pass landmark legislation creating simple, common sense rules for stablecoins and market structure. With the right legal framework, institutions large and small will be liberated to invest, innovate, and take part in one of the most exciting technological revolutions in modern history. It's so big, it's, I think, as big as you can get. Security and wealth for American consumers and businesses alike. You will unleash an explosion of economic growth, and with the dollar-backed stablecoins, you'll help expand the dominance of the U.S. dollar, and many, many years to come, it'll be at the top, and that's where we want to keep it. We only want to keep it at the top, always.
Let me stop it right there. Now that's him throwing a bone to a couple of people when he was talking about the stable coins and all that stuff. You know, a lot of people donated to him in the crypto space, so he has to be in the digital space when it comes to AI and cryptocurrencies and the like, and stable coins. He again, all that stuff separated from Bitcoin. So I know we get a little triggered when he says stuff like that, but again, it's not all about Bitcoin with President Trump. As you can see, he's talking about the U.S. dollar, but he's got to be, the digital summit leader in the world for America, and I'm loving that, and I'm also loving the fact that he wants to keep a strong dollar. Now he's not just talking to digital people or crypto boys or Bitcoin boys when he's talking about this stuff. He's also talking to the United States of America, entire country, and the U.S. dollar is his number one priority when it comes to money. Because again, when he's talking about the U.S. dollar, it's going to lose value against Bitcoin. Okay, there's nothing he can do about that because of the fact that they're going to print and stuff like that, and it's just a broken system. He's entered into a broken system. But we do, as Americans, we do want a strong dollar, right? We want our prices to be down inside the borders of our country, and also the fact that we still want to remain the world reserve currency as long as we can, and we also want to be the number one dollar versus every other currency as well. And not for nothing for us guys, the stronger the dollar, again, it's going to be weaker against Bitcoin, but the stronger the dollar, the more Satoshis we can get. So again, he's not just speaking to digital creators, digital people, crypto people, Bitcoiners and stuff like that. He's talking to the whole country.
I can already see that the energy and passion of the crypto community is the kind of spirit that built our country. And it is exciting to watch as you invent the future of finance. And right here, it's going to be right here in the USA, the good old USA. Together, we will make America the undisputed Bitcoin superpower and the crypto capital of the world. Thank you. Good luck. God bless America.
Love it, President Trump. Love it. So yeah, that's good. That's a major announcement. He's basically saying, "Hey, we're going to do this." Now again, is it anything new that we didn't know already? No, but to hear him come out of his own mouth and say the same stuff that pretty much David Sachs and some of the big crypto people on his team are talking about, and he's actually saying it, sitting at his desk. I know it's at the Digital Asset Summit, but anybody can hear that. That's a big deal, to be honest with you. And I think that's another half step to us actually accumulating Bitcoin and not just holding on to it. All right, speaking of accumulating Bitcoin, this is Bo Hines right here. He is a guy from North Carolina. I like him. He's a pretty smart dude. He ran for Congress there in North Carolina. My daughter lives here, so I'm very familiar with him. Used to be a former football player, young guy, 30, smart as heck, man. But he had a couple little different controversies about where he got his money from, and then the hats he made because he's America First guy. The hats he made were from China and stuff like that. But if you look him up, he's a pretty good guy. But he did an interview about that because he's on, and as you can see, Bo Hines is executive director of the President's Council of Advisors on Digital Assets, and he's young, man. And I'm telling you, he's smart as heck, and he knows a lot about Bitcoin.
Likes to say it has the immaculate conception, meaning that there's no issuer. It has intrinsic stored value that's traditionally accepted, and we feel like it's in the best interest of Americans to hold on to this asset long term and accumulate as much as we can get. That's why we've akin this to digital gold and talked about building the digital Fort Knox for the United States. And you mentioned the Bitcoin that we have possession of. We've actually been in possession of nearly 400,000 Bitcoin. We sold roughly half of that prematurely at about, I think it was close to $370 million is what we sold it for. If we would have held on to that, it would have been worth $17 billion today.
So we had the Bitcoin, we got 370 million for it, and now it's worth 17 billion. This is what happens, man. When you don't understand what you have, again, it doesn't matter small level, high level, super high level like the US government. If you sell your Bitcoin, guys, you're never going to get it back for the price that you sold it for.
I mean, it just goes to show you how important this asset is and what we can do with it to benefit the American people. One thing that I've said repeatedly throughout the media circuit is that I think it's really nice that we have a president that's actually looking to accumulate assets for Americans rather than take it away, unlike the last regime that we had here at the White House. But we feel very confident about our plan. We feel confident about the internal working group that was set up in that first EO. And I think we're going to have tremendous ideas on how to accomplish this.
There you have it, guys. Wow, man. This is crazy for Bitcoin's price to be this low going through all this stuff. I mean, look at this, guys. For Bitcoin's price to be in the 80s with all this bullish stuff and the ETFs buying and Trump sitting down at the desk saying this stuff. Again, people don't understand what it is, right? And we are so early, guys. And for us to be sitting in the United States of America, most of us, not all of us, but it doesn't matter. We're Bitcoiners. And to be sitting at the mid 80s, how I don't know. It's a very, very fortunate thing. You guys got to get as many of these Satoshis as humanly possible, guys. You know what I mean? You got to get out there and work hard. I'm sick today. I'm not feeling too well, but I'm still out here trying to get it as much as I can. And with all this bullish news, guys, we couldn't be in a better position. So with that being said, guys, the world is catching on. The United States government is catching on. Everybody's understanding in Trump's cabinet, especially those really, really smart guys, are understanding that they're skating where the puck is going. You know what I mean? And we know that this is the best money in the world. It's going to be the only way you can save in the future. It really is. And people are going to be working their butts off for these Satoshis. They are, because they're worth so much. So if you know that, you need to get out there and get as many as you can and save in the number one money in the world. And I'm pretty sure you guys already know what that is. It's the best way to save. And for me, the only way to save. And that's Bitcoin. I love each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love, guys.